Welcome back to Unlimited Reads. You're with Chris, and thank you so much for joining me for a somewhat different video than what I would normally post. Unfortunately, and apologies, the book-related content has been a little bit sparse lately, and I do have a really good excuse because I have been swept up and captivated by a brand new project I am undertaking, and I am talking about my first ever novel, which is very, very exciting. And I thought I'll take this opportunity to share the project with you, tell you a little bit about it, obviously without spoiling too many details, otherwise the spell will be broken, and updating you on a regular basis on the channel as I take my writer's journey with what I think is going to be a pretty good book if I can manage it. Now, with a book like this, I am really clear on where the book's going. I have a beginning, a middle, and an end. I know how it's going to end. I know a lot of the events that are going to take place in the middle of the book. I've never been so clear on a project before. Over the years, there have been several false starts on novels because I had no idea where they were going to go. So at the moment, I am heavily involved in research, brainstorming, planning and outlining. It's a World War II historical novel, of all things, something very different than what I've normally attempted to write, but this is going to be set in between 1943 and 1945. It is going to be about a young Dutch girl who is deported with her family to Westerbork, which is was a refugee camp in the Netherlands and has been since converted to a transition camp by the Nazis, where her and her family are boarded onto the cattle truck trains and bound for the concentration camps over into East Poland. And it's going to chronicle her life from her very early age. She's about 12 years old, and it's going to chronicle her life within the concentration camps and how she survives it. And there are going to be a lot of challenges and insurmountable odds that she comes up against, and there is a lot that will go into the novel. So it'll go from the beginning when she gets taken along with her family by the Nazis, who break into her family home, and right up until the present day. So it's going to chronicle her life. I think I'm going to aim for about 100,000 words by the time the second draft is finished. Ultimately, the end product, I'm aiming for about 90,000 words, which will be the equivalent of about 347 pages, which, after doing some market research and things like that, a book of this type is the average length of 90,000 words. So it's a reasonable figure to aim for. I will be updating you regularly on my progress and the word count so that you can keep track on what I'm doing. But I think it's a reasonable length and allows some leeway for heavy editing and trimming down to a very lean, tight product, which should be good. It's going to be told from the point of view of the main character, obviously in first person. It's going to start where the young girl is in the present day, and she's going to recant her tale to someone, and we go back in time, and the narrative will take place as the character, as an old woman, is sharing her tale. So there won't be any language taken from a 12-year-old's point of view, because it'll be told by the old woman. More complex language will be used, and ultimately will chronicle her whole life. Now, the interesting thing about this is what I've got planned is it's not going to be all taking place in the past. What I'm going to do, because of the events are going to be harrowing enough, I think the reader's going to need a bit of a break. So what I've got planned is a couple of interludes here and there where we come back to her in various intervals in the present day throughout the novel, if that makes sense. So it's going to take on a similar format with the movie Titanic. We see Rose at the start, where she's starting to recount her tale, and then we shift back in time, and then occasionally we'll come back to the future or to the present day. So that's how the novel's going to be structured, because I think it'll break things up very well, and will give the reader a much needed break, because the events that I'm going to be telling about are going to be very graphic and harrowing. So there you go. Yeah, look, the structure of the novel is very clear to me. I have a very clear 3-act structure. The novel is going to be potentially divided into 2 parts, 2 separate sections, and I'm planning around 35 chapters, which I think is more than enough. So I'm very heavily into the outlining stage at the moment. I have about 20 of the chapters named already, so I've got a really clear roadmap of where I want to go. It's going to be pretty linear, so I plan on writing different sections and making sure that I stop writing so that I know exactly what's going to happen the next time I write, and I know exactly which direction I'm going to go in. There's no way I can actually veer off in an unexpected direction and fail. So everything is very, very clear. We've got a beginning, a middle, and an end. We've got all the events in between. I know exactly what I want to say. I know what I want to put the main character through. She's not going to spend a lot of time in the concentration camps. She is, the concentration camps, some people were there for 2 or 3 years. I'm not going to put her through that. So basically I'm going to go a little bit easy on her, but certainly she's going to see some things that a typical 12-year-old Dutch girl should not see. No, I don't have a title yet. Basically the project is simply called Holocaust Novel. Okay, and that's fine. I don't think I need to rush the name. I don't want to force the name. After doing a bit of market research, there are a lot of books that have Auschwitz in the title. Do I want Auschwitz in the title, or do I want something a little bit different? Because the market is currently flooded with World War II books featuring Auschwitz, do I want to fall into that same category, or do I want to call it something without that in the title? And I do have a list of titles here which I'm not going to tell you. I do have a couple of really nice titles. There is a title I'm looking towards at the moment. Just ignore my notes here. But I've got a few options there. I've got about 2, 4, 5 titles that I have. I think I am pretty much settled on a title I want to go with because it sounds really good. It sounds obscure enough for the reader to wonder what it's about. So they're not going to pick up the book and see a book about Auschwitz in particular. Although the concentration camp is going to be featured in this novel, I don't want it obvious, and I don't want to be in the same group as all these Auschwitz books. I want something to stand out a little bit, so I'm being very, very careful and particular about what I call my baby. Okay, now, some progress I have been outlining, but because the prologue of the book is set in the present day where we meet the character as an old woman, that is pretty clear to me, and I could start writing that right away, and I have written it straight away. I wrote a few pages last night, in fact, being Sunday night here in Australia, and I've got about 5 pages of fresh copy here. Now, I'm okay with it. What I'm going to be doing is looking at the point of view. So I have got the point of view from the person she is speaking to, but that's not quite working. I think I need to switch around to her point of view as she's about to recount her tale. And what I did was also this morning I actually gave the pages to my wife to read, and this is one of the reasons why I love her so much, is because she does not pull any punches. If she tells me something sucks, she's going to tell me, because she is brutally honest, and that is something that I need as a writer, and I think all writers need that, because you can't have someone tell you that the writing's great when something is lacking, and she has already pointed out to me a couple of things that I need to think about, which she is spot on about. So she's got a very good eye and knows what she would want as a reader, and she's told me straight up, this word needs to go, and that is the most valuable feedback. So she is going to be my first reader. As I produce the chapters, I'm going to have her read them over and steer me on the right track, because it is very valuable feedback, and I want this thing to be perfect by the time I submit it to a publisher. I have decided to go the traditional route to begin with. I would like to either get some representation, or there is a publisher that I have been researching lately who are looking for this kind of book, which is a digital publishing company, which is a division of Hachette UK, which I am targeting. But after I finish the book, I think I would like to search for an agent and get someone to represent me and see how the book goes. Now, obviously, it's a long shot to get published anyway, but I'm going to try the traditional route first, and then if that fails, I'll give it a damn good go, and then if that fails, I will look at self-publishing on Kindle. But do I want to self-publish on Kindle with what's happening with Kindle at the moment, with them removing your purchases? That's going to be a bit of a challenge, so we'll see how that goes. But Guys, that's all I've got to share about this project at the moment. I'm very, very excited about it. I've never been so clear about a project before. It's so linear. I've got a lot of things to include in it. I think of the book as a bit of a recipe. So at the moment, I'm assembling all my ingredients on the bench. The thing about this book is it going to be just another Auschwitz survival book, or is it going to contain something a little bit different? Now, I have struck gold in the terms of an idea or a delicate little plot thread that I've threaded, or that I'm going to thread through the novel. It is something that hasn't been done before. It's going to be what I would call my secret sauce that's going into the recipe. Something with a touch of magic. Hard to describe, but I'm not going to spoil it here because I have found a fantastic idea that is going to work really, really well, and it's going to be very symbolic and that sort of thing. And I'm not telling you any more about that. The secret sauce is something that I will keep very close to my chest because it's very special to me, and to have that kind of epiphany of an idea, I got chills thinking about it because it's going to stand out from what's been done before. So this book is going to hopefully make readers cry at the end, and there's going to be a little bit of a twist in the novel. I think it's a pretty good twist, and they're hard to come up with, and I think this twist is going to blow people's minds. So by the time I finish the book, which I'm planning on finishing by Christmas, so typically I am going to be doing 3 drafts. I'm going to be doing the first rough draft, which is where everything goes into the novel. It doesn't matter how much detail goes in. Details can be taken out later, but I have to pour everything into the first draft. Then the real work begins with the second draft, which is where rewrites happen and cutting and throwing things out and starting again from scratch on different things. So it's going to be a lot of hard work. And then the final draft, the third draft, will take the form of editing and line editing and just polishing it up to a polished gem before I send it out to a publisher. So there you go. Lots of exciting things happening. Stay tuned for more updates. I will include you on my writing progress. And until the next video, guys, happy reading.